Welcome everyone. So I'm excited about today's Lunch and Learn. This is a topic I've wanted to have for a while. Just didn't know who to give it. And then Jim joined Tab and I was like, boy, do we have a topic for you. And he agreed to do it on the art of interviewing. And I find that many of us don't interview well, that we end up hiring people who we like, which is nice, but they may not have the right skill sets for the job. And I'm sure you're going to cover all of that.
My name is Jim Wilson. My company is OI Partners. We are an HR consulting company. We basically do three groups of businesses that we offer. We do outplacement services for business of any kind, whether there's a merger and acquisition, a downsizing, or someone is terminated for whatever reason. We're not a placement company, but we take those people and help them and teach them how to find a job. What I'm doing today is actually a little reverse of what we do, because we actually teach the person being interviewed how to interview, whereas today I'm going to hopefully give you some pointers you can take away on how to better interview and how to be prepared for the interview. The other area that we work in is we do executive coaching and leadership training. The executive coaching are usually director or VP level above, and we just work with them so that they can get to the next level, or if they've just recently been promoted, we help them to guide them and so they're strong in their position. Leadership training is more companies identify high potential people that they don't want to lose. So again, we go in and give leadership training classes so that they can step up to a management level. Lastly, we also do recruiting. So if somebody has a position that they're looking for that they are having a tough time filling, we'll make sure that they have qualified candidates to interview. So that's basically what we do as a company. As far as today, you know, what we're going to do is we're going to go through several different topics on interviewing. If you have any questions, please ask them. There'll be time at the end, but you know, we can make this interactive. I have no problem with that. So if you have questions as we go, that'd be great. And then at the end, there will be a little exercise that hopefully you can utilize what I talk about to get a feel for what we can do so you're better prepared to be an interviewer. The reason we interview. Well, the reason we interview obviously is you're looking to fill a position in your company is the main reason. But what we're trying to do is create a conversation and exchange ideas. The second part of the reason we interview obviously is skills and credentials. Before you interview someone, what you're going to do is you're going to come up with job specs. So what you're going to do is determine what the job is. What do you need to fill the job? What kind of skills? I mean, if the job requires an MBA, you have to put that in a job spec. If the job is you're running machinery and you have to know a certain computer to run that machinery, it needs to go into job specs. If there's possibility down the road that the person can relocate, you want to put that into job specs. So you want to make sure that your job specs are as clear and concise as possible, but you want to make sure that you cover the skills that are going to be necessary in the job. Because part of the interview is you're going to have to explore during that time frame, which you basically, most interviews, one-on-one type interviews last an hour, maybe a little longer, sometimes they're shorter. So you're trying to find as much out of that person and what their skill set is to match up with the job you're looking for. And now a really important point to go along with our conversation idea is culture. Okay? You want to establish a match in what they know, again, kind of like with the skills, but overall, but you want to make sure that they're going to fit in with you as a manager, an owner, or your company. An example, let's say you're a very formal company and everybody, man or woman, every day they come to work in a suit and tie, or the women are wearing a business suit. And somebody comes up in the interview and they're in shorts and sandals. Well, chances are they're not going to fit in the culture of your company. So you want to ask questions, and again, I'm going to give you a lot of examples, and there's tons of ways out there you can find more than what I'm going to tell you today. But you know what your company is about, whether you're the hiring manager, the owner, the VP, whatever your title is, you know your company. You know the people that work for you, you know the people you work with, and you know the people that this person is going to be working with, unless it's obviously you, then you obviously know yourself. So again, The interview process is a conversation, and you want to make sure that they're going to fit your company culture. Because the bottom line is, if they don't, they could be the best person to do the job, but if they don't fit with your company, the chances are, over a short period of time, they will fail. And then you're going to be back to square one, looking for a new person to fill that position. Either that, or either they will be miserable in their job and leave, or the people that work with them or for them are not going to be happy. So you want to make sure as best you can that they fit the company culture. The first interview. So we go back to the first interview, we can go back to we could start at the very beginning, like 500 BC. What do you think? We'll go back to then. That'd be good? We'd be here all day. No, what I'm going to do is we're going to go a little more recent history, and that would be like in the 60s and 70s. In the 60s and 70s, the interview process was totally different than it is today, because the interview process was more like the company is out there selling the person that's coming in for the job. So like you would go to interview with GE or GM or Ford or somebody, and you'd go in for the interview, and the interviewee had it was fine, because what would happen is the company would be saying, you got to come work for us. We're the best company. We have the best benefits. We have the best chance for advancement. You know, this is why you have to come with us, because we're the best and you're going to be happy. You'll be here for the rest of your life. You'll never leave. And they would go out, and these companies would fight for these people to come to work for them. And that was great for the person looking for a job. Believe me, I mean, we'd all love that. That'd be great. But the problem was they weren't getting the right people. So they would get people into the company, and then, you know, a year down the road, 6 months down the road, they say, well, this isn't working the way we thought it would work. You know, these people just, you know, the resume said they were good, and we told them how great we were, but it just didn't work. But it was a different time, a different mentality. There was really no behavioral instruction out there at the time, and so that's the way the interview process went. So that was in the 60s and 70s. Then we went to the 80s and 90s, and it totally flipped. The company says, well, this isn't working, so what can we do to fix it? I know, we are not going to tell them how great we are. We're going to have them, and we're going to have, these are what we want, and we're going to sit down and we're going to match each item. So if their skills match up perfectly with our skills, then they've got to be the right person for the job. So that's what they would do. They would put out their job description, they would get their resumes, they'd look, say, well, this is a pretty good match. Bring somebody in for an interview. They would sit down, they would say, okay, these are my 12 questions I got to ask. Let me see if they match up. You know, can you do this? Yeah, I can do that. I've done that in the past. Can you do this? Can you do this? And they would match it up. They would go down the list. They say, well, he matches all 12, she matches all 12, we're going to take her. Okay, that's fine. 6 months down the road, 12 months down the road, they figure out the person doesn't fit. Nobody wants to work with them because for whatever reason, you know, maybe they don't shower, maybe they're just a bad manager, I don't know. But they're like, nobody wants to work with this person. They match all the skill sets, but nobody wants to work with them. So that was in the 80s and 90s.